Song of Solomon. Let him kiss me with the kisses of his mouth, for thy love is better than wine. A bundle of myrrh is my well-beloved unto me. He shall lie all night betwixt my breasts. Stay me with flagons, comfort me with apples, for I am sick of love. It was but a little that I passed from them. I found him whom my soul loveth. I held him and would not let him go until I had brought him into my mother's house and into the chamber of her that conceived me. Thy two breasts are like two young roes that are twins, which feed among the lilies. Thou hast ravished my heart, my sister, my spouse. Thou hast ravished my heart with one of thine eyes. How fair is thy love, my sister, my spouse. How much better is thy love than wine. And the smell of thine ointments than all spices. Thy lips, O my spouse, drop as the honeycomb. Honey and milk are under thy tongue. And the smell of thy garments is like the smell of Lebanon. My beloved put in his hand by the hole of the door, and my bowels were moved for him. I opened to my beloved, but my beloved had withdrawn himself and was gone. My soul failed when he spake. I sought him, but I could not find him. I called him, but he gave no answer. I charge you, O daughters of Jerusalem, if ye find my beloved, that you tell him I am sick of love. His mouth is most sweet, yea, he is altogether lovely. This is my beloved, and this is my friend, O daughters of Jerusalem. Thou art beautiful, O my love, as Tirzah, comely as Jerusalem, terrible as an army with banners. Turn away thine eyes from me, for they have overcome me. How fair and how pleasant art thou, O love for delights. I said, I will go up to the palm tree. I will take hold of the boughs thereof. Now also thy breasts shall be as clusters of the vine, and the smell of thy nose like apples. His left hand should be under my head, and his right hand should embrace me. Set me as a seal upon thine heart, as a seal upon thine arm, for love is as strong as death. Jealousy is cruel as the grave. The coals thereof are coals of fire, which have the most vehement flame. Many waters cannot quench love. Neither can the floods drown it. If a man would give all the substance of his house for love, it would utterly be contemned. I am a wall, and my breasts like towers. Then was I in his eyes as one that found favor. Now you see what I look like 3 years later after I've been on Seroquel. Seroquel is known to put weight on you, so I'm basically making this video to prove that I'm on Seroquel because there are people out there that are saying I'm not on it. But first, let me tell you what I eat every day. This is my breakfast. I've got a banana in here, some Greek non-fat plain yogurt, frozen berries, frozen kale, which I freeze myself. I just buy fresh kale and just stick it in the freezer. I have some unsweetened, non-fat almond milk. Well, yeah, unsweetened almond milk with no sugar, extra sugars added. And I have 2 tablespoons of hemp seed in here. And I had this for breakfast. I blended in the blender and then just had this for my breakfast as my smoothie. Um, yeah, this is what I have. Oh, it sounds like it's raining. I guess I won't be able to go for my daily walk. Jesus has ordered me to go for a walk every day, so I do facelift exercises, but Carol cleaves, but not like I should. I'd probably look better if I would, but it's just so boring. But I do a little bit of it. It's kind of like it's kind of like it makes your muscles tight, but I don't do it like I should. and but I think the kale and the salmon and the flax oil that I eat, the food that I eat, also helps my skin to look pretty good. This is a very strong lighting, so this is not exactly showing me in my best light. Very strong lighting. And I'm going to be 57 on September the 15th, so as far as here's proof that I'm on Seroquel. You just saw a video of me in 2011 when I was not on Seroquel and I had a full-fledged systemic yeast infection when you were looking at that video. But, I always kept my spirits up, so and of course when Brett contacted me, I was thrilled. But as you can see, I've gained some weight. You say, how much did you weigh then? I probably weighed about 121 pounds in the previous video taken in 2011. And now I weigh about 10 pounds or 12 pounds more than that. So here I am. This is Seroquel weight gain, folks. Seroquel weight gain. You say, oh, why would you get off of Seroquel? No, I have to be on Seroquel. This is Seroquel weight gain. This is proof that I'm on Seroquel, folks. This is proof. You see, if I wasn't on Seroquel, I'd be as skinny as you saw me in that previous video. This is proof. But the good news is, now that I'm on Seroquel, my yeast infection was cured about a year ago. And what I'm dealing with right now is I'm dealing with all of the leftovers. See, I've had yeast toxin in every cell from my head down to my toe because I had a systemic yeast infection. And I know this may seem hard to believe, but the particular yeast I had was a yeast bacterium. And when that infection becomes systemic, there's a 60% mortality rate. And because Jesus put me on Seroquel, and he did some other things, he himself has been doing some things to try to bring my yeast infection under control. He told me, he said, Gail, don't take any, he said, drop all of your supplements. He said, just take your Seroquel. You can take a vitamin mineral supplement and like painkillers like Advil or whatever if you need that. But he said, other than that, and he said allergy medicine. He said, other than that, he said, don't take anything else because all that stuff, the Jesuits are able to use that to make your yeast infection worse. And I know people are going to say, oh, yeast isn't affected by Seroquel. Well, Jesus created Seroquel just for me. And of course, he wants to make it appear like Seroquel can only be used for mental health problems. But, I'm not the only one who's being helped with Seroquel because of a systemic yeast infection. And people like me, we feel disenfranchised by the medical community because they don't recognize Seroquel as the cure to people that have my particular yeast. This yeast was created in Jesuit laboratories. It's a unique yeast. It does not behave like your typical yeast. It's quite deadly once it becomes systemic. It's a very strong germ, but Jesus wanted to keep me alive, probably to keep writing for him and to make these videos. So this is proof. I would not have this weight gain on me if I was not taking Seroquel, folks. This is proof that I'm on it. You say, well, you only gain. Look, I used to be able to eat like a pig and not gain a pound. You know why? Because the yeast got it first. So I would be worse than this if I wasn't on that's kind of like a raw diet, what you're seeing there, because none of that stuff is cooked in that smoothie. And I eat like that 50% raw, like that. Frozen is raw because it hasn't been cooked every day. So, that is, if I get away from the raw, the weight goes back up. I start getting up to like 140, 144 pounds. I'm at about 133, 132 right here. And I can't go lower than this, without being unhealthy. So I'm just not going to sweat it. I'm not going to look like I did in 2011. I won't be that skinny anymore. And maybe it's good. Jesus said this is a healthy weight. So this is proof I'm on Seroquel. Okay, folks? And I'm basically right now on a paleo Mediterranean diet. Basically, it's a combination between the two. And except I'm not going to cut out dairy because paleo doesn't believe in dairy, but I'm not going to cut out dairy because Jesus said he invented cows for us to have milk. So that was his hint to me to go ahead and have some dairy because I have small bones, so I could possibly have a problem with osteoporosis later. So I want to keep up the dairy. And plus, the body does need calcium. Of course, you can get calcium from other sources besides dairy. I understand that, but Jesus did say for me a little bit of dairy might not be a bad idea. Look at these small bones. You see, small bones. Yeah. Anyways, the weight gain is proof that I'm on Seroquel. So anybody who says I'm not on Seroquel, they're full of baloney. They're just making that up to make it look like that I have a raging case of paranoid schizophrenia that just can't be fixed, Well, the reason it's not being fixed, folks, is because I never had paranoid schizophrenia in the first place. Never. Never had it. Never been paranoid schizophrenic. I take Seroquel for the yeast bacterium. It's a yeast bacterium hybrid, which is not recognized by the medical community because the Jesuits practically control traditional medicine. So they don't want it to be recognized. That way, if they want to kill off somebody with this germ, they can do it in a manner where they can also discredit them at the same time. It's crazy because nobody recognizes that there's such a thing as a yeast bacterium infection, which when it becomes systemic, has a 60% mortality rate. In fact, Vladimir Putin's wife, Larissa, died of this yeast infection. What happened with her was she, by the time they discovered she had the yeast bacterium infection instead of breast cancer, they worsened her infection by putting her under chemotherapy. Chemotherapy is the absolute worst thing you can do for somebody with this infection. It makes the germ go crazy rampant, and then you can never get over it. So, anyways, this is like my breakfast. So, anyways, folks, this flab you see here is proof that I'm on Seroquel. Okay? I've had to sacrifice my bikini figure in order to have my health. Hey, but you know what I love about this? Did you know that the Seroquel, the yeast infection made me so sick I couldn't have wheat, I couldn't have dairy, couldn't have corn, I could hardly eat anything. There wasn't much I could eat. Now I can eat just about everything. The only reason I'm cutting back on some of these, like I'm not having gluten either, is because I'm dealing with inflammation. That's my problem. So I've cut back. I'm on an anti-inflammatory diet, and I find the paleo Mediterranean diet is best for somebody who's dealing with inflammation. Inflammation can get really deadly. If you have a constant inflammatory response mode, if your body's always inflammatory, it can lead to high blood pressure, which down the road can lead to heart attacks, strokes, and all sorts of things. So inflammation needs to be taken seriously. That's why I walk every day, helps my body though today I won't because it's raining, helps the body take out the toxins. Inflammation's no joke. So this is an anti-inflammatory diet with the exception. It's really funny. A lot of people claim dairy is inflammatory, but I find for me it has a little bit of dairy is good. It seems to help me. And like I said, Jesus told me to have a little bit of milk. I have a little bit of red meat, but not a lot because I need the iron. I tend to be iron deficient. I don't know what it is with this infection. This germ, this yeast toxin absorbs iron in the cell. It's kind of complicated to explain. But anyways, I'm pretty much Mediterranean paleo, and the chubby that you see on me, that's proof I'm on Seroquel. I'm working on my next book about Jesus Christ. It's going to be great. Jesus has six-pack abs, but yet he's vast and spiritual, and he's really cool. Next book, he's the main character, but it's told through the point of view of Brent Spiner, who has been meeting with Jesus just about every day for the past couple years.